There's a long distance train rolling through the rain, tears on the letter I write. There's a woman I long to touch, and I miss her so much, but she's drifting like a satellite. Welcome to Songs of Experience, a Bob Dylan podcast where we explore the man and the music one song at a time. I'm your host, Henry Bernstein, and I'm so happy to have my dear friend, co-creator of the Bob Dylan fan club, constant in the first row, receiver of the double Bob point, Kait Runevitch, here to talk about the final track off of 1978's Street Legal, Where Are You Tonight? Journey Through the Dark Heat. Hello, Kait.
Hey, how's it going?
It's great. I'm so happy you're here. I, as I said offline, I'm always like very nervous about talking Street Legal. I did an episode on Senior, but although Senior is, Street Legal is such a beloved album, I always feel like I don't do it justice, but I'm glad you're here to offer it some credibility.
Well, I mean, we'll do our best, right?
Yeah, we'll do our best. So, I admired you from afar on Facebook for many, many years, and we finally met at an Airbnb in Evansville, Indiana in 2023 for like the best post-concert party I've ever been to. I don't know, you've probably been to many, but
Some,
so
not as many as maybe you think, but
so I'm going to ask you some other origin story questions in a second, but what is your Bob Dylan origin story? Like, how and when did you get into Bob Dylan?
oh wow. I was in high school and my dad bought my boyfriend at the time Bob Dylan's greatest hits for like an early Christmas present. And he was like, you should listen to this. And I was more into like psychedelic music and at the time. And I
Were
was
you
like,
a
oh.
deadhead or
No, I wasn't a deadhead.
okay,
I was more into like Hendrix
Hendrix?
and
Okay.
Jefferson Airplane and more on that kind of end of things. But I listened to it and I was immediately like, holy shit, all right, this is something good. And I need to investigate this. I started listening, and it was like a couple days later, and I thought, well, because this guy is alive, I wonder what he's doing right now. And he was in LA and
What year was this?
1997,
Okay.
and it was Christmas break, and I was like, my high school teacher had mentioned it was really cheap to fly to LA in class earlier in the year, and I thought, okay, let me check, and it was like $250 or something. I was like, I'm going out there. Like, why not? And I went for just one show and I saw him and I just thought, how amazing is this?
What was the venue?
It was the El Rey Theater.
hmm hmm Was there
Which,
anything like particularly like legendary about that show? Just like awesome 97 Bob in LA. Like it was.
I mean, it was awesome 97, Bob. The energy was really high. There were a lot of like the openers were different every night
Mm.
and there were a lot of celebrities. Like Ringo was there the night I was there.
Wow.
Called him out. It was very, unusual energy, I guess.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I didn't know anything. I was 16, so I kind of just got there. I didn't understand being in line or
hmm
anything. I didn't know anybody, and I kind of just went
Was it a
in.
GA show or seated
Yeah.
or yeah? Oh wow. Did you like so you didn't know to like elbow your way to the front and
No.
yeah.
And I didn't want to. I was just so
Right,
nervous about
right,
what was
right,
going on. I
right.
just stood in the back and
Was there anything about that show in particular that was like, oh, I've now got a deep dive, or like I'm into Bob Dylan now, like, or did you come to that on your, with that separate from that show?
well, I didn't know all the songs
hmm
at the time, but the songs I did know were different. And I
hmm
thought, how cool is this? Like, I have this version on the album, and then I can go see him, and it's this version. Like, I wonder what else goes on here. And the band was just great, and just his energy. You get drawn into.
hmm
I mean, yeah, I mean, you do. Well, you
Yeah,
know.
I know. Yeah, yeah, I
So
had a similar experience my first time. Yeah,
it
that's
was kind of like, and I just left, went back to the airport, and went home, and that was kind of like the start of everything
so
for.
it was the start of everything, buying all the CDs and like listening to everything. And did you
Was
have like different phases of Bob? Did you just absorb everything at the same time?
I pretty much took everything on at the same time
hmm
because my record store had like a lot of 3 album sets.
hmm
I
Oh,
went
those
and I
are
just bought
great.
like all of those.
Yeah.
and kept filling in. We had a couple of records at home when I was young. We had Planet Waves.
Mm,
We had Greatest Hits Volume 2. We had the Basement tapes. So I had kind of already an eclectic collection of things
yeah.
going on.
I had
So
one
I
of
just
those
fill
three
everything
CD
in,
sets too. It was a 3D set of Blood on the Tracks. No, yeah, Blonde on Blonde, Blood on the Tracks, and Time Out of Mind. Like, like those have no business being together, but such a great trilogy, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's great.
I
Do
just
you
took it all in. I was like just all about everything. I was reading everything,
mm,
like all the lyrics. I listened to Bob all the time when I was going to sleep, on the way to school, during the day. I just had everything was.
did you had a Walkman or something or a Discman, I guess?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
Like put the tape in and
yeah.
put your
Mm,
CD in there.
totally, totally. Did you make Bob Dylan mixtapes?
I made a couple of Bob Dylan
Hmm.
mixtapes. I made one for my dad actually first because I thought I should.
Repay the yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't really a Bob Dylan fan necessarily, so it was kind of random that he got that CD.
Hmm.
So I thought I should make him like a CD of all my favorite songs.
That's
I
amazing.
did. I actually found the list today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Wow, that's
for a couple of other people, but I'm mostly like, let's listen to the album because, it's an album, so you got
it's
to listen
perfect.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, so this album, as I mentioned, this song is from the album Street Legal, which was recorded April 27th, 1978, the Rundown Studios in Santa Monica, produced by Don DeVito. Its performers included Bob Dylan, Stephen Douglas on sax, Alan Pasqua on organ, Billy Cross on electric guitar, Stephen Souls on rhythm guitar, Jerry Sheff on bass guitar, Ian Wallace on drums, Bobby Hall on congas, Carolyn Dennis, Joanne Harris, Helena Springs, and the as the amazing backup
Mhm.
vocals, and like I said, produced by Don DeVito. So, Kate, why this song of all like? It totally took me by surprise, like because I think of you as you're modern Bob to me. Like, I know you from like, going to shows. So like I this is definitely one we'll talk about the live versions later, but like you've never seen this one live. So
No,
so why
but
why this song?
I've never seen either of my favorite Bob Dylan songs live.
So
So
this is your favorite Bob Dylan song.
this is one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs.
Why?
So why? Well, I really like the imagery.
Mm.
I immediately think of a film noir.
Hmm.
I picture this man on a train, and then they go like, fades out into the reflection of all these things that have happened. And it comes back to him at the end as the train's like pulling into the station,
Hmm.
sort of thing. I like the big sound. It's like got a huge sound, the crescendo, it builds. It's got like a different energy and intense energy.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
kind of I was thinking about I'm so happy you said the crescendo and it builds because it sort of starts at 11, but then still somehow by the middle of the song it builds up, and by the time you're at the end with the uh-huh, it's just
Yeah.
like you can't believe 6 minutes have gone by. It just moves so well.
Yeah, yeah, it does. I mean, I love it. It's a great late night song, I think.
Mm. Mm. Is this a good driving
Driving, it's
song?
a driving song. It's got a good like rhythm, kind of like the train referenced in the song.
Yeah.
It's a good one to.
It's interesting because like the Street Legal has a lot of that stuff on there. Senor, he's introduced this song talking about a train and the man with smoke coming out of his ears or whatever. And all these
And what's
train.
the next album? Slow Train.
Right, right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Theme
clearly
going
was
on.
was on his mind here. The you said like it has a groove. I like heard through some through the grapevine, through some sources, that the song actually began as a waltz,
Okay.
which I could. like maybe on those like an early piano demos or something, he was plunking away as a waltz. And I know that other folks who have heard like the at the Bob Dylan archive the rehearsals and the demos and stuff, it kind of it's like really slow the tempo,
Yeah.
and then it could just like, but maybe that was Bob like kind of teaching it to everyone and
Well,
building it up.
it kind of fits with the theme too of the train.
Hmm. Right, like a train starts off kind of slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, we start off with the first verse, long distance train rolling through the rain, right? And then all of a sudden he goes to like this woman, she's drifting like a satellite. What do you make of that as like an opening for like to really get us in the world of this bizarre song?
Well, yeah, I think it's kind of like foreshadowing all the points that are going to be put out later on in the song.
Okay.
You're filling in the backstory of what's happened and then giving us like a prequel of what later is going to be explained in more detail.
Do you think that gets paid off later? What they're setting up?
I think, yeah, I think it does. I mean, I think there's a lot of topics explored. I mean, I think it's a song that really exhibits a lot of stages of grief,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
um,
Can you
like
say
blame.
more about that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think there's there's a lot of moments of I don't know, like self-recognition of deeds that were done, but then also and shame, regrets,
Mm,
but
mm,
also blame and anger
hmm.
and trying to give reasoning behind why things that were done were okay. Like I'm a product of my circumstances and you
Right.
know.
Right. Like it's sort of unfair of us to get into Bob's personal life here, but I also think it's hard to ignore what was going on in his life at this time, at the
Yeah,
recording of this album, and his what seems like intense fear of his children being taken away from him and moving to, a very far place, and obviously the final divorce papers get written. I feel like Bob's really going through it, and
yeah.
I think,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all the songs on this album fit into the theme, and I try to not objectify songs. Also, like I don't
mhm,
try to objectify them onto Bob.
mhm, mhm.
But I
Right.
agree, it's hard to separate that when you have a knowledge of his life, and I try to ignore like his life. I'm not trying to not
Yeah. I
know
feel like
too much
when I'm
about it.
listening to this song, I'm not thinking like, oh, that's about his divorce or whatever. I'm sort of
Yeah,
caught up in the world, much like those other surrealistic imagery songs like Desolation Row or
yeah,
Chimes of Freedom. Like I'm just sort of swirled up in whatever world he's in. I don't think I understand what he's talking about, but
well, this is a very like mystical realism type of song. There's a lot of archetypes, and the story that's being told could be told of a lot of people. So it's not just Bob's story. It's a story of a lot of relationships that have gone a certain way.
totally. And
And
I think, yeah, and
maybe,
I think that's why like Bob's songs really feel personal at times because they're
yeah,
relatable.
yeah,
Yeah, in the second verse, there's a neon light ablaze in this green, smoky haze, laughter down on Elizabeth Street, and a lonesome bell tone in that valley of stone where she bathed in a stream of pure heat. I love that you're saying about the imagery. I love that sort of going from this hazy, neon light, green, smoky haze, to Elizabeth Street, like an actual
yeah,
concrete place that Bob Dylan has been. So that's like I think to me like a perfect example of Bob, putting us in this like weird magical place, but also like it has some grounding to it.
yeah. Well, yeah, they're both either places that either Bob has both been. He's been in this haze, green
Hmm.
smoky haze, and he's been on Elizabeth Street, or whoever the character is. If we're gonna not try to make it about Bob,
Right. 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 Yeah, it's interesting also. Like he's really good at having these things um off in the distance, but also then right in front of your face. Like a lonesome bell tone in a valley of stone seems storybook like, far
Yeah.
away, something you're hearing off in the distance, but he brings her that woman from the first verse back, like you said, like it's and now she's bathed in a stream of pure heat, which that is such a great Bob Dylan-ism to not say stream of pure light, but stream of pure heat. And obviously he has to rhyme with street, but that's a very to me that's like very Bob Dylan-y.
Yeah.
What do you,
Yeah.
yeah, what do you think about that second stanza in terms of like the storytelling that's happening here?
Well, I mean, I do think it's a little foreshadowing. I think of like the stream of pure heat is like the turmoil going on
Hmm.
to me.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of the song is about the female character coming to terms with and admitting that it's known what's going on. Because
Mm.
there's also imagery later in the song that she's kind of just like ignoring it. She's putting flowers on the shelf and just kind of seems like a different person.
Hmm.
And he also realizes in the song that there's a invisible self that she has that's like knows knows what's happening
Hmm. Like
in
a
a sense.
sort of a mirror
Yeah.
universe person.
Well, I mean, I think it's the same person, but I think that Bob doesn't realize that there's this other person there that he's kind of taken for granted
Hmm.
in a way,
Hmm.
so to speak.
Her father would emphasize, "You got to be more than streetwise," but he practiced when he preached from the heart. A full-blooded Cherokee, he predicted to me the time and the place that the trouble would start. I love it, the streetwise line, because I always think he's going to say street legal and be like, he said the name of the album. Like do the Leo meme point. Yeah. Yeah. This is interesting, like him bringing in her father, like he's telling us information
Yeah.
about her life. Like she must have told him that at some point, or he knew her father or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of think of it as like this guy knew what was going to happen.
Hmm.
And he probably, tried to send out the signal, but,
Hmm.
he got the message and she maybe didn't get the message.
Right. There's sort of some sort of like oracle shaman thing happening because the
Yeah.
he predicted it, right?
Yeah.
And the time and the place that the trouble would start. And so you feel like it's not him as the character that's missed the message. It's her.
I feel like he's trying to warn her
Mm.
about what's happening. He's not trying to warn Bob or whoever.
Hmm.
He knows what's going to happen
Hmm.
because he recognizes this character.
Hmm.
So he's telling her to be more than streetwise, like think a little bit harder about this, like get a little deeper,
Hmm.
think about this person and what's happening.
This song at this point, this is when like the bass is like really grooving and the organs are like, and
Yeah.
the girls are in the background. Or this is such like a epic part of the song because I feel like if you're not hooked on this song yet, like then maybe this song isn't for you. Like I'm all in at this point, but
Yeah.
this is to me such a good album closer
Yeah.
because it makes me want to start changing the guards all over again and get back
Yeah.
to it. And that to me is like, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that in your life, finishing a Bob Dylan album and starting it over right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely one of those. And I think part of the reason that is because the whole album is kind of telling this story that all it's like different parts of a fairy tale, like you said, or something like a
Hmm.
or parable or whatever. You get these pieces through all the different songs that all kind of go together.
Hmm.
And then you're like, I want to watch that movie again.
It kind of has like a Tangled Up in Blue quality to it in terms of like
Yeah.
this story where time is jumbled up. And I've mentioned this a bunch of times about a bunch of songs, but and that's my favorite song, Tangled Up in Blue. So I just compare it to Bob Dylan songs all the time. But that sort of like storytelling where you're not sure if the subject of the story is the narrator where it's happening to them right now, in the future, in the past, and it's just like one of those songs. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I really like that about about this song.
Yeah. I mean, it's a complex song for sure to, I mean, if you're visualizing it anyway while you're
Hmm.
listening to it. Kind of reminds me of Abandoned Love or something a little bit too.
Say
Like
more.
the same kind of like it's got the same kind of mystical themes going on and
Hmm.
you know, kind of I'm not sure I can describe it better than that. Like
Okay.
it's uh
Look it up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that song starts something's telling me I love you still, you
Mm.
know, kind of
Hmm.
the same kind of covers a lot of the same themes and the lost woman
Hmm.
and will we be together again and just kind of I don't know. They're not that far apart in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I never, what, yeah, I wonder what year that was. But I've never thought about that connection of those two songs. That's I'm gonna have to revisit that
Or
song
maybe
now.
up to me, you
Mm.
know, it's kind
Hmm.
of similar storytelling in a different way.
Right. Up to me, like the if Sheltered from the Storm didn't exist, it would have been on that album probably, right?
Yeah,
It would have been on
yeah,
one of the tracks, but yeah. Yeah, that's it. I like that. I mean, you're sort of getting the vibe here of everything went from bad to worse right off the
right.
bat, just like with that song. Like you're, it's gonna happen. Get ready.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you all the bad things.
yeah. And they
There's
all
a
kind of
yeah.
address it in a different way. Like I think that one's more maybe has a little bit more sorrow and reflection, and this one has a lot more anger and defensiveness built into it.
Yeah, I mean, you can really hear this is to me is peak vocal Bob Dylan, that rage in his
Yeah,
voice, that sort of un unashamed that it's not screaming, but it's this full-throated singing
yeah,
that you get sort of at the back end of the Rolling Thunder review, and now to me it's peak. You know, he even it sings there's a babe in the arms of a woman in rage and a longtime golden-haired stripper on stage. And she winds back the clock and she turns back the page of a book that no one can write. Oh, where are you tonight? And you know, that's sort of like you said, building to a climax of the I guess it's the chorus, but it's not really a chorus. It's that, and it's not a refrain like Tangled Up in Blue where it ends
yeah,
every verse with it. It just sort of
right,
d
yeah.
builds to that. But yeah, that rage you can hear in his voice. Did you listen to? Have you listened to the some of the live versions of this?
I haven't in a long time,
Okay,
not
but you
recently.
have at some point.
Yes, yes,
So this song was performed 33 times, according to Bob Serve and BobDylan.com. It's one of the few times they agree. But it first played in July 15th, 1978, last played December 9th, 1978. And that's it. Never again.
oh,
All of you fans for the next 40 years, too bad. Why do you think this song never had life beyond that? It's just CNF the whole time. It's got a blues, you know, gospel groove. It's got organ in it. I mean, I could see his band doing it. Why do you think this just that was it?
I think the song is like addressing something really specific,
Okay.
and if it's something that Bob wants to get off his chest, and if we kind of go with the theory that it has undertones of him transitioning into his Christian phase.
Hmm.
He says, you know, he says at the end, what does he say? There's a new day at dawn and I finally arrived. Like
Hmm.
he's saying, okay, this is that's all done. Now we're
Hmm.
doing this.
Hmm.
I finally arrived. But he's like saying it with a little bit of hesitation. Can't believe it. I can't believe I'm alive. You know, and he's also like, if I'm there in the morning, you'll know I've survived. Like he's like, okay, I'm burgeoning on this, but maybe as time went on, he felt like he could let this kind of this anger in the song go. Like
Hmm.
it wasn't important to him anymore.
He had moved on from that. But
Yes.
it's so interesting because like there are so many songs that could be products of its time. And I mean, you just came from seeing Bob Dylan twice this week as we
Yeah.
record this on August 12th. And he opened with Masters of War three nights in a row. Like, if they're now that is a timeless song. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is that someone from that period of time could interpret it as a very specific thing, very specific. But here, I mean, I guess you're right. He just wants that song to live in that time. I mean, like Senior made it off of the into modern times, and
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, we don't know. We're not Bob, so
of course, I know.
he just, I do think he likes to play songs that mean something to him at the time. And sometimes there are songs that are from way back in his catalog that he feels like he can still play.
Hmm.
And there are a lot of songs from whenever, new and old, that he doesn't want to play. And I think that's one of the great things about him,
Hmm.
you know.
Absolutely. I mean, if he did play this one, if he busted this one out at Outlaw Tour, it would probably be about half of the lyrics and at warp speed, like Desolation Row. You
Yeah,
know?
maybe. You
Uh,
never know. I mean,
you
I don't.
never know. Yeah. Maybe Noblesville, Indiana will be where you tonight.
That'd be
So,
something else.
so speaking of Bob Dylan live, so you've seen him many, many times, and I know we've talked about offline how you don't know your exact number, right?
I haven't finished computing it
Yeah.
yet.
It's a lot of looking at stubs and ticket
I
stubs and things.
did. I have a giant box full of ticket stuff, not
Did
just
you
Bob.
really?
Yeah, and I did. I told you I was like kind of moving my stuff around in my house, and I kind of dumped them out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, that one, all right." And that's not even all of them. There's another box in the basement of stuff that I haven't even looked at. So
Do you have the opposite? Have you ever had the opposite experience of the oh yeah, where you were at a show because like someone told you you're at that show, or you had the ticket and you just have no memory of that?
no, not. I don't think so. I guess I've like forgotten how many times I've been to a place or
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
when I went to Fort Wayne, I was like, "Oh yeah, I've been here once," and I was like, "No, I've been here. This is my fourth time here to see Bob." But then I'm like, "Oh yeah, I came this year and this year and this year."
You've
And
forgotten more than I'll ever know when it comes to Bob Dylan. It's so funny. Yeah, for some reason, I have this one show in Madison, Wisconsin, where he weirdly did. Well, wasn't he? It was Stu Kimball did one of those Tom Waits bits
yeah,
for like.
yeah, I was at the Chicago ones before
Yeah,
that
so
one.
the Chicago one, right? We talked about that. We were at that same show where he did the Jesus Gonna Be Here, and then he did another one in Madison, and I just have no recollection of it. I've stared at the set list, I've listened to the recording, I just don't remember it for whatever reason.
Well,
So,
sometimes there's shows that I don't remember what I saw necessarily.
mhm, mhm.
And then I remember I was there and circumstances of it or whatever, but then I go look at the set list and I'm like, oh yeah, like I was saying, never going to be the same again.
Mhm.
I was looking at the Worcester show before
You're like, I saw that.
Newport. And I was like, oh man, yeah, I played that there. I totally forgot about it, but then I remember it once I start thinking about it.
Also, that's amazing. Way to bury the lead. That's amazing that you were at the show before before the Newport return. That's a pretty good flex right there.
Well, I mean, it was made sense, was on the way. So,
Right. It's purely logistical. Yeah.
well, I mean, no, I was traveling with my friends and we made a decision. We're going to go do this, this, and this, and come home.
So could you tell the story of the legendary story of the creation of the Bob Dylan fan club on Facebook, and that ties in with meeting a certain Columbia recording artist?
Yeah, that was a weird day. Unexpected, I guess. I mean, I guess the backstory is that Caroline and I, for that year and the year before that, and the year before that, and
Caroline
somewhat,
Schwartz, your co-creator of the Bob
yes,
Dylan fan club, co
we went to a
co-admin.
lot of shows. I mean, we went to a lot of shows at the
How did
time.
you two meet
We met in
at a
line
show?
for a show.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we just met and we kind of, I brought some champagne to Line one day and she thought that that was really cool. And we started talking and we decided to go to a show together at the end of the tour. And we just really hit it off, had a great time. So we just kept doing it
Mm-hmm.
because our life circumstances at the time made it possible. And so we went to lots of shows. They were mostly GA. We were pretty much always in the front, which people think was we had to be in the front, but really the true story is we didn't have any money, so we would just drive from venue to venue and just sleep at the venue because we didn't have any money to get a hotel room or anything. So
Mm-hmm.
that was
Mm-hmm.
the most convenient thing to do.
So you were already there.
So we were
You were
there.
there first in line. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we had our car. I had a blazer. We had it all set up. We had a coffee maker. We had all the food in there. We had our wardrobe. Everything was all set up. So who needs a hotel room?
Right.
Just get one on the days off and save the money the rest of the time.
So where did you end up when the Notorious meeting
So the
happened?
fan club that was in St. Paul, Minnesota, actually. At the
Wow,
end.
it happened in his hometown, so to speak.
Yeah,
A rare St. Paul before he took St. Paul off of the tour schedule. Too
yeah,
many cousins asking for tickets.
yeah. Yeah, it was the last show before they were going to Canada on not the ballpark. I don't think it was ballpark. Their
Hmm.
next part of the tour,
So like
and
2009?
that was 2005.
2005, okay.
Yeah, so 20 years ago now,
Wow.
long time.
Yeah.
And we just were standing at the rail, and guy came out and he was like, "You have to come with me." And I was like, "Why? I don't
Like a
get it."
security person or
Yeah,
a
someone that worked for
East
Bob.
West touring kind of thing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Someone you'd see like on stage, and
Hmm.
I'd never talked to the person before. I'm like, okay, and I was kind of like, no, 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 this is our spot, And he was like, no, no, your spot's fine. We'll make sure no one goes there. And he said, are you the ones that go to all the shows? Dubious, dubious question, I guess. Yeah, yeah, we did.
Did you think like maybe you were in trouble or something or in some weird
Yeah,
way?
I thought like, there's been times where they say people have been removed from the rail or asked to not be there anymore. And I thought, well, okay, maybe that's this time. I don't know. Fine. But then he said their spots were fine. I'm like, okay, still not sure what's happening. Great. Maybe they were going to give some free stuff. He's like, come down here. Walked to the side of the rail and he was like, Bob wants to talk to you. And it was like, really? Okay. Well,
He just kind of that rolled off. Bob wants to talk to you. Like,
very matter of fact. Bob
wow.
wants to talk to you. Just listen to what he has to say. Oh,
Any
okay.
other instructions? Like, no eye
That was it.
contact. Just listen to what he has to say. Okay.
Come with me. We're like, okay. So
It's just the two of you?
no, there was another couple of girls that always came to the Willie shows with their
Hmm.
parents. They were big
Oh, and
Willie.
this was on the Willie tour.
Yes.
Mhm.
And one was gone and one was there. And he was like, you come too. And she was like, all right, okay, cool, whatever. She was on the phone trying to call her sister, figure out where her sister was in the
Hmm.
bathroom or
Hmm.
whatever. So we marched back there. And we went down in this area and Bob was just standing there. And
Was he like by the bus or just sort of off?
no, just kind of in the back. It was kind of a weird place that was also like a fireman's training facility in the back. So there was actually like a bunch of burned out stuff back there. It was kind of a weird, but just kind of back past all the stuff for the show. And
Uh-huh.
so he was just back there. He was like, hey, girls. He's like, good to see you. And we were like, oh, good to see you.
He was friendly?
Oh, yeah, really friendly. Super friendly. Extremely friendly.
Smile?
Oh, yeah. He was
Oh my
super
God.
smiley and nice.
Eye contact?
Yeah, I mean, we're having a conversation.
Well, you know.
I mean,
Oh my
he had
God.
something to say, so.
Those piercing blue eyes right into your soul.
Yeah. It was a little kind of. I don't think that I would have had a lot to say anyway
Okay.
if I had
Yeah.
been told not to say a lot
Of
because I.
course. Of course. Okay. All right. So how's it going, girls? Yeah.
Yeah, and he was like, "I love seeing you out there. I play my shows for people like you that go to all my shows. You guys, you get it." And I asked us some questions about ourselves, where we were from, what we do.
Really?
Yeah, just general friendly talk. A little bit.
What a nice Jewish Midwest boy.
I will always remember. He said, "What's your name?" And I said, "Kate." And he said, "And where are you from?" And I said, "Athens, Ohio." And he kind of looked away and he said, "Athens, Ohio." Like just kind of like really thinking about it.
Oh my God.
What do you do? And I said, I manage an art gallery. And he said, "Oh, do you have a business card?" And no.
Oh.
And he said, "Well, write down your information or whatever." And I just had like a little tiny scrap of torn off paper. And I was trying to like write on there. And I was like,
The
"Is this
kind of
okay?"
things that he writes lyrics on, so you're good.
Yeah. "Is this okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's fine." It's like, "Okay, cool. Well, great." Said some other stuff. And then he was like, "So I was thinking." We were like, "Oh, okay. Uh, I've never had a fan club, and I wondered if you girls wanted to start one for me," which is not a question that I ever imagined.
Was not on your meeting Bob
My
Dylan bingo card.
And Caroline and I talk about it a lot. Like it was really confusing. We're like, well, you have like all these fan clubs and whatever already. Obviously, you have all these people together talking about you. But we kind of thought, well, maybe he just means like fans, like, not fans that come to the shows, people that aren't like analyzing things and, people that are just there for the music and
Hmm.
really appreciate and notice like changes
Hmm.
and, okay, more like a fan club, like people that are around. Because he said, you guys, you get it. And we said, okay, sure. If you say so,
Wow.
that's great. Whatever. And I asked him what he wanted it to do, and he said, "Well, you're on the internet, you can figure it out." And we were like, "Okay." And he said, "Do you think you can do that?" And
Oh my God. He gave you an
I said,
assignment.
"We'll do our best." And we talked a little bit about, talked about critics and talked
Mm.
about how some people say that don't like that he doesn't play the songs the way they are on the album or whatever. And he was like, some of those songs I've been playing them that way for years.
Like he
That's
needed to defend himself to them. Yeah.
yeah. And he said, I talk to people myself, but I'm busy and I don't have very much time to do that. So I was wondering if you guys could, be my voice and
Wow.
talk to people about what I do and why you go to the shows and all that. So, yes, okay. Sure. And talked about reviewers and how people get it wrong and they don't get it and how he plays in a really special way. And
Wow. He gave you a lot of information.
yes, yeah, you can read Caroline's whole recounting of it on the fan club web page.
Yeah, we should say that the Bob Dylan Fan Club has an amazing new site, which has some really cool fan interaction stuff on there and questions to answer and stories to tell.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really loving reading what people send in,
mhm.
both about like what got them into Bob to begin with, or special moments of live shows, and talking about, we have a lot of different questions. I think you don't have to answer all of them if you don't want to, but when Bob's a cover artist, and the way he changes his songs, and are there any versions of a song that really resonate with you that you've seen live or a certain location, anything like that. And people
Hmm.
send in the most amazing stuff. It's
Hmm.
great.
Yeah, yeah, it's really great. So how did it all like wrap up? Did he say, "Okay, I'm done with you now," or what, how did he
I
I
mean,
got
he
to go
pretty
do a
much
show.
was, he was like, okay, well, that's what I had to say. And I'll see you out there. We were like, well, we'll see you out there. And we just went back to our spot and like, all right, well, that's a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of things to talk about on the drive home. Did he
Yes,
give
which was
you the
fortunate because
double
it was
point that
like
night
a
or
17-hour drive home. So
right,
we
the
had
17-hour
plenty of
drive home?
time to kill trying to figure out what was going on.
Did he give you a double point that night or
No,
no?
nope. It was just
Any
kind of,
acknowledgement from the stage? It's like so
no,
awkward now. We had this whole conversation.
just kind of a regular day.
hmm
Nothing out of the ordinary was going on.
It's
And
amazing that in 2005, like he was thinking about those things was I know that was 20 years ago, but to me 2005 seems like so deep into the live touring thing that he is still like thinking about the fans who get it and caring about the fans from the front row, admitting that that's who it's for and sort of why
yeah,
he does it. This theory that like he's always on the road because it's for the love of the game, like and you
you
sort of
know,
like confirmed it.
yeah. I mean, I think he kind of meant like at that time with all the GA shows, people that were in the front were really into them and really,
hmm
that's not necessarily the case now.
No, no.
So he was kind of recognizing, that he appreciated that people were there, that the way he was performing resonated with them and they wanted to come back again and again because it was a lot of the same people, a lot of different places. And it was a different time.
hmm
So, and he also said, I'm getting old and I don't like thinking about that, but I don't want my legacy to die essentially. Like I don't want people to forget about what I do.
Wow. 20 years ago, he said that.
20 years ago. So,
That's incredible that, to think about, like, I don't know if he thought maybe he was, nearing the end of his time on the road, but it's possible. That's, and that was 20 years ago. He's still going strong.
yeah, I mean, who knows what he was thinking about at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. In that moment. Wow. That's so from there, how did you guys come about creating the Bob Dylan fan club and on Facebook and Facebook was relatively new at that time. It was only like a year or two old at that time.
Yeah, we didn't have a Facebook page initially.
Mm,
First, we just thought about the aspects of what we thought he was trying to
mm,
say
mm,
and what was important to him
hmm
about his live shows and his songs. And so we wrote up a lot of ideas and we kind of came up with a list of charter members, people we knew from shows and other Bob fans. And
hmm
we wrote to them and we pretty much asked them the same questions that we came up with answers to for our own concept, and then
hmm
kind of went from there and like trying to talk about, now Bob, like that was kind of the initial thought. And it evolved over time. Then Theme Time came out and we added a lot of stuff. We did different things for different albums. We used to have Modern Times live, and that was just about live performances of Modern Times at the time. So it's an ever evolving thing, but I think we try to stick with the theme of Now Bob,
hmm
which you're saying, why did you pick this song? You're saying
That's right. You
Now
pick a song from
Bob.
1978. Yeah.
But I don't know why I picked that song. I guess it's been a powerful song to me. But
hmm
anyway, we try
Would you,
to.
is it fair to say that you and Caroline basically crafted a mission and vision based on what you interpreted he was saying? And it sounds like he was pretty explicit in what he was
Yeah.
saying.
So we started with like history, mission, and goals.
A history,
Yeah.
mission, goals. Okay.
So
Wow.
history was like, okay, well, what made us the people, or what about us made the people
hmm
that
hmm
were picked out for this?
hmm
And based on what he said, what's the mission for him? If he's wants us to talk about what he does and the way he talked about the way he plays and all that. So it was kind of the mission, or talk about that. And goals are kind of to educate people. And it's still the same. I
hmm
love to I'll just sit down in my seat at a show now and I kind of listen around to what people are saying. And
Really? I try to block out everyone when I'm
I
at a
usually,
show
if
now.
I, someone's behind me, and especially if they're not sure about it,
Hmm.
I like to talk to them and just say, well, have you listened to anything recently? And talk, just kind of chit chat about when they've seen Bob, if they've seen Bob,
Hmm.
if they know anything that he's put out recently,
Hmm.
what he's been doing. And I would say 99.8% of the time after the show, they are like, that was amazing.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. I'll have those conversations before. I don't want to have them during, but
No, 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 not,
like don't talk to me during. But
no,
I'll
no.
have those conversations too. And it's I'll be damned. Like at the end of most shows, I think like I can think of one where the couple we had a great conversation before, and then they left early
Yeah,
during Rough and Rowdy Ways. Fine. Um, but it's certainly an outlaw. Like I'll meet a mom with her, 20-year-old son who's never seen Bob Dylan. He loved it at the end. So did she. And
yeah,
at the last show at Jones Beach, there's a family in front of me, mom, dad, and a daughter about 20, 22 maybe. And when he started "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right" as the final song, she jumped up and cheered and was like, and I think there's a little bit of a complete unknown bump there, with that,
yeah,
but which is
yeah,
great. If the kids are going to see the show, that's great. And but like they were so happy at the end of that show, and I love that's
yeah.
still happening.
Yes, absolutely. My people say all the time that was my first time seeing him. I can't believe how great it was. And I mean, I guess that's still the mission to get more people out there and help them understand the way Bob is in his live performance and
Hmm.
how I love to talk about how great it is that he's still willing to share some of those songs
Hmm.
and reinvent them and give us new ways to hear them. And that was this thing I thought at my first show. Like I said,
Hmm.
oh, I have this album version of this song, and now I have this other really great version of the song. How many more times does that happen? Is that
I
happening with all
know.
the songs?
It's, I mean, the best example, I've said this a couple times, like all along the Watchtower, like a song that he's played, it was completely synonymous with a Bob Dylan set list for years and years, decades and decades.
That is
Most
my most heard song for
For
sure.
sure. I mean, it's probably yeah. I think it's weirdly it's my second or third because of going to so many Rough and Rowdy Ways shows. "I'll Be Your Baby Tonight" is my most heard song
Yeah,
now, which is crazy. But anyway, Watchtower for sure. But like after all these years, he like cracked it, and by adding that go to major chord there, it's like a whole new song. That's
I
giving
love this version.
it's so good. It's like
I
he
know.
finally figured out the best version.
Is it the best? I don't know. Could
I
change again. It
It
could be.
could, yeah. I know. To me, it was like he cracked the code, but yeah. I know he could do it again. Yeah, and the like I said, the Warp Speed Desolation Row, and to Ramona, and like all these songs, I
Yeah.
thought I would never hear again.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, and I think the other part of the beauty of seeing him a lot is so I went to Wheatland earlier in the summer, and that was the first Till I Fell in Love with You.
Hmm.
And then I saw it again and here at the end, completely different.
Completely
Not the
different.
same at
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. I'm just a couple months apart. I'm seeing something completely different. It's wonderful.
I remember when you
Oh,
texted me after Wheatland, I was like, "Till I Fell in Love with You." That's one of my most favorites. I was like dying. I was like, "Please keep that in the set list." You did. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, that's still the mission of the fan club is to like tell people all of that and why it's awesome. And
I
then,
uh my nephew called me yesterday from Syracuse right after the show, but Willie hadn't even come on yet. It was his first concert. He's 20. And he loves Bob Dylan, and he was like stoked to see it. He was sitting in the lawn and he loved it. He called me. He was just like, "That was so great. I can't believe that was actually Bob Dylan singing 'Don't Think Twice, It's All Right' and singing
yeah,
Master." Like he actually couldn't like he totally got it. He's like,
yeah,
"I just wish people would appreciate that they were seeing the greatest singer of all time playing those songs that he wrote, and he's like, and even the newer stuff and the blue stuff that I didn't know as well was amazing. I was like, ah, kid, you get
That's
it.
good. He's in the fan.
Yeah. So the fan
Yeah.
club is less of like a follow, it's more of a being part of the ethos of it, like the
Yes.
mhm,
Yeah. I mean, we try to get people together sometimes before shows. And
mhm.
you, for instance, many
Yes.
times.
Yeah.
Over the years, but it's a lot. I love when people post their reflections of the shows on the fan club and stuff
Hmm.
because I think that's helpful. There are a lot of people on the Facebook page that have never seen Bob or haven't seen him
Hmm.
in a really long time,
Hmm.
and it's nice that there are people that are seeing him now that can kind of tell the tale of what's happening
Mm.
and let other people experience it through
Mm.
their words.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I just love how, the night of a show, like just checking, hitting refresh till that set list pops up and I see Kate Flower, thanks, Bill, and that there's that set list. It's like goosebumps. It's like the jump scare of the set list, or that text, a text from you with a bust out.
Yeah.
It's
It's
so
fun.
yeah,
I mean, it's never the same, even when it's kind of the same.
right, right. Um, well, we could keep going through all of the lyrics, which are quite lengthy. We're not even halfway through. Or would you like to pick out a few that were meaningful to you and that maybe you could reflect a little bit on what you think their meaning was and lead to like the thing that you said it happens to this person?
Yeah, I think that I fought with my twin,
Hmm.
the enemy within, till both of us fell by the way.
Hmm.
That's what Caroline and I both like a lot.
He's Bob's into twin imagery. Like we see that in Love
Mhm.
and Theft a lot. What do you think that I don't interpret it as literal, but what do you think he means that by his twin?
I think it means, like giving into the reality that there are different aspects of your personality
Hmm.
and you can't fight it off if it's part of who you are.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they, eventually they fall by the way and you just become the person that you are. Like you can't hide that necessarily, even if
Hmm.
you're wearing a mask or something,
Mm.
or to be a certain person or whatever.
Right.
What's one of your favorite lines?
Um, I I like I bit into the root of the forbidden fruit with the juice running down my leg. Then I dealt with your boss who'd never known about loss and who always was too proud to beg. There's a lot of like references in this, and so I like that he's getting into the biblical stuff here, which I
Yeah,
I always appreciate, and like going Old Testament, which I really like too. And then this is just like a funny like the way he pronounces things, and whenever whenever I'm listening to this verse, I always think with the Jews running down my leg, which which I know is ridiculous and silly, and he's not saying it, but it just always it always makes me laugh. But he's
yeah,
and I like that imagery of the juice running down my leg because again, it's unexpected. I would think he would say
yeah,
the juice running down my cheek or my lips, but down my leg, like what is how did the forbidden fruit that juice ran all the way down, it's like permeated his whole body. And then I dealt with your boss who never known about loss and was always too proud to beg. So I think again there's a little bit of biblical imagery with your boss, like maybe that's God or some kind of person who thinks of themselves as God.
mhm,
And then of course too proud to beg is like a classic song reference, is like a
yeah.
classic blues, kind of blues reference. So that's the one I like. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of blues reference in both of those lines. But I think, when you think of it more in relation to the song,
Hmm.
I kind of think like maybe, it dealt with it dealt with your boss, but like kind of referring back to
The
um
father?
no,
Mm.
the other part of the woman, like
Mm.
the other side that he didn't know,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
who was kind of calling the shots or something on the
Mm.
inside as things were culminating. And I think it's kind of like going back to like the stages of grief, or what it's kind of like a blame part
Mm.
of the song, or like you don't understand what I'm going through. They don't understand. The boss doesn't understand what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
Do you think all the stages of grief get touched on? Like, does he go through it in this song?
I mean, I think he goes through anger,
Definitely.
he goes through
Is there denial?
denial, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe blame, and like making excuses for himself, kind of
Mm-hmm.
type of thing. Regret.
Mm-hmm. And then kind of acceptance at the end. There's a new day at
Yeah.
dawn, and I finally arrived.
Yeah.
Kate, what is this song about? Just let's stop beating around the bush. What do you think? What do you think it's about? What is
Well,
happening in this song?
I mean, I think that he is reconciling a period of time through explanation of the what happened,
Mm.
metaphorically,
Hmm.
so to speak.
And what happened metaphorically? The
I think that
dissolution of this relationship,
I
like what?
think that, I think if you want to be super literal, like
Hmm.
he was in a relationship with somebody, he was getting around on the side.
Hmm.
Then he's like, oh, well, it's all part of what happens to someone like me, and you don't know, it hurt me too, and whatever.
Hmm.
And also realization that he didn't actually know the person that he is missing now completely before, but now he has a better sense of who that person is,
Hmm.
and realizing that they're gone, but wishing that he had a chance to show them the new person that he is in the end.
So by that last verse, there's a new day at dawn, and I finally arrived. If I'm there in the morning, baby, you'll know I've survived. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm alive. But without you, it just doesn't seem right. Oh, where are you tonight? So, do you think that "Oh, where are you tonight" at the end here is different than the "Oh, where are you tonight" at different points in the song? Like, he's both accepted it, but he seems to be longing for that
Well, I think he's always
still.
longing for it
Hmm.
throughout the song, but
Hmm.
I don't think it's different at the end than it is at the beginning.
Okay.
I think it's just kind of like the end of the movie, where you start out and he's on the train and he's writing a letter and he's crying, and that's the end of that.
Hmm.
I've I've said everything I need to say now,
Hmm.
and I wish you were here to see who I say I am now.
Hmm.
Where are you tonight? Still, like realizing that that's not coming back.
That refrain of "Where are you tonight?" It's so poetic and thoughtful and hopeful, and since it's a question, it leaves so much to interpretation. But then there's that parentheses, journey through dark heat. And I've never been able to reconcile the title and the subtitle here with each other.
Well, I think, first you have where are you tonight? Like, I'm
Hmm.
longing for you. Where are you? You break up
Hmm.
with somebody and you think about them and what are they doing now? Where are they?
Hmm.
But then the middle of the song is about the journey through the dark heat, which is the divorce, the breakup, the
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like the longing and the story that goes along with it, the journey.
Yeah. People talk about, Blood on the Tracks as the breakup album. I mean, Street Legal's like Hold My Beer, you know? It's,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
Blood on the Tracks. I think Blood on the Tracks is a sadder album, and this is a more angry album.
right, right.
So maybe it was a long period of going through the phases of dealing with whatever.
Totally. Totally. Yeah, I think so. So, speaking of going through phases, as we wrap up here, when you were seeing Bob along the way, did you have any sort of bucket list items like I've got to see him in New York, I've got to see him in Europe, I've got things like that? And if so, is there anything left? Like, have you done it all when it comes to Bob, and now it's just about continuing?
I don't think I ever had any specific goals of places that I wanted to go see him.
Hmm.
I just always went to go see him anywhere it was convenient.
It's not like I want to hit all 50 states or something like that. Yeah.
No, but I can thank him for encouraging me to
Mhm.
travel. I haven't been to Alaska and I haven't been to Hawaii and I haven't been to Idaho for some reason. But I think that I have seen him in every other state.
Really?
Yes.
You've seen him in 47 states. Wow.
So
That's pretty great.
maybe that's a bucket list thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. It wasn't
Well,
intentional, but as
it
time
just
goes
kind of
on,
happened along the way.
yeah. And then all of a sudden you start thinking like, okay, well, where do I have left? But I still never really intentionally. I could have gone to Idaho this year, but I didn't.
Hmm.
Just
So does that sort of happen as you're just on the road? Like, okay, I'm on the Eastern Seaboard, so I'm just gonna go from, Bangor to Bakersfield, as they say, on the road.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it was in college a lot of the time,
Hmm.
so I would pick non-important times of the quarter to
Hmm.
just kind of scoot out for a while. I remember the first time I went to Europe. I was in college and I was taking bowling.
Ah, I took bowling in college.
They had a
Yes.
no miss policy
Uh-huh.
that was like you cannot miss at all. I was like, I'm gonna fail bowling. This is crazy. And I went up to the teacher and I said, I'm gonna be gone for a week and I'm gonna miss 2 classes because I'm going to England to see Bob Dylan. And he was like, I love Bob Dylan.
Yes.
He was like, if you bring me a sweatshirt back, it's all good.
Oh my God. Wow.
How could this have got any better? I was like, totally cool. No problems.
Wow.
But I did get a D in the history of rock and roll class because I missed the final to go see Bob instead.
That's amazing.
So I felt validated that I was living the history of
I
rock and
feel
roll.
like Bob Dylan would approve of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
I hope so anyway.
Um, where can folks find you if they want to, join the fan club, talk about Dylan?
You can get on our website, which is just the bobdylanfanclub.com.
Hmm.
And we would love for people to send in responses to For the Love of Bob and Bob Dylan Live, which are our new sections we have. You can read the origin story there. We have all kinds of different stuff. We have Sounds Different, in which we talk about the way Bob plays
Hmm.
and a lot of just different kind of the foundations for the fan club. And we have a Facebook page you can get on, and it's very active.
Yes, a lot of good conversation on there for the most part.
Yeah. Well,
It's
media
Facebook. It's still Facebook.
can only do so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll
And
say just as on a personal note, like the site itself was very formative in my Bob Dylan. Yeah, I became a fan in 2002 and I just took it all in. So just, even just a few years later, that when Modern Times came out, I was obsessed with that Modern Times section. I'm still obsessed with Modern Times. I miss Modern Times.
I thought, maybe when we were thinking about redesigning, I was like, maybe we should bring Modern Times Live back. But then we weren't sure if it's,
You could always do it. You never know.
maybe in
Yeah.
an archive section or something
Yeah,
because
something
it
like
was
that.
really cool.
It was great. It was great. I mean, because that was like the bulk of when I was seeing Bob in like my first 10 to 15 shows, like in 2006. Like I went to a
Yeah,
lot of shows on that tour. So I was, reading
yeah.
that site. Um, Amazing. Okay, I have one exit question for you, Kate. If you could
Okay.
yeah, I don't do this for everyone, but if you could pick one era to go back in time and see Bob Dylan live, what would it be and why? And it could be an era you've seen him in, but you want to relive it or something you just, Rolling Thunder, 1978, 63, whatever you want.
Well, if I were picking a time to go back to that I have seen him live, I think I would pick 2002.
The three-part harmonies, the
Yes.
covers, yeah,
Yeah.
what a
And if I
time.
had to pick an era I haven't seen, I think I would pick Rolling Thunder Review. One of those years, probably 76.
Oh, the second run of
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Great. Amazing.
What would you pick though? You
Oh,
mentioned.
I have to answer the
Yeah.
question too.
Yes.
I go back and forth of this a lot. God, I would love to have been there in 66, knowing what I know, having the knowledge of what I know now to be there to yell at the people booing, and like defend Bob. Like, you don't understand what you're, but probably OG Rolling Thunder, like one of those
Okay. Yeah.
amazing, like whichever the one that the Tangled Up in Blue is from with the close up video,
Yeah.
like
I
probably
mean,
that.
all the songs were so different and so powerful on those
Yeah.
tours.
I mean that blues Hard Rain and like I don't know
Yeah.
the stuff with Joan, like I think that's
Yeah.
probably but I also like since I'm so obsessed with the Never Ending Tour and listening to those bootlegs and yeah, like I would love to go back to 2002 and just go on tour with him. Like I didn't know my first time seeing him, I mentioned this before, it was an early show and a late show. I didn't
Yeah.
know that like we could have stayed for the late show. Like I'm sure there were tickets. It was a GA show. It was at a small ballroom, the Murat Egyptian Room. I'm sure you've seen him there in
Yeah, I
Indianapolis.
haven't actually. I that was
Oh,
one of the only ones I missed that tour.
okay. Well,
We weren't there
like
together.
what was I thinking? Why did like we were in Bloomington for college, like it was a 40-minute drive. We could have just stayed. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that you could see him on multiple times on the tour. So maybe 2002, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great year and a lot of great opportunities like that. And there was so much energy in the band and the crowd and Bob. Seemed like he was having a really good
the
time.
the old man with the Neil Young cover with the three-part harmonies just lives rent free in my head.
I remember the first one of those. We heard him sound check it. And I remember calling somebody and saying, he's sound checking old man. And they were like, this old man? And I was like, no, old man, like Neil Young. And then he played it, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. And I saw all those Warren Zevon ones in the beginning.
Oh, you were in Seattle or wherever that was that
Yeah, I
first,
flew
yeah,
out there. It was
yeah.
gonna be my 21st birthday, so I
Mm,
started in Seattle
hmm
and met Mike, gave me a ride,
hmm
went to
hmm
Eugene, stayed
hmm
with him, and went through Sacramento because that was my 21st birthday and saw a bunch of the end.
Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, he was playing The End of Innocence. He was playing Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
Great Brown Sugar. I love that. And this is so funny. Like in at my first show, he played Knocking on Heaven's Door as the encore with the crazy harmonies.
Yes.
Um, and again, I didn't know that was kind of like one of the last times he played. Like he didn't that wasn't in the regular rotation after that, and I never saw it
Yeah.
again. I've never seen it again. So that's
Yeah. That's why it's important to get out there and see
that's
as many
right.
as you can because you
That's
never
right.
know. It could be the
That's right.
last time.
That's right. Like I was thinking, like I said to my nephew, I'm like, you saw Masters of War at your first show. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty incredible. So, yeah.
Well, maybe in Noblesville.
Maybe in Noblesville. Maybe we'll get it. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to our reunion in Noblesville. Um, is there anything else you want to say about Bob Dylan or the fan club?
I don't usually. I'm just like, Bob is cool. Whenever the show ends, I just look at whoever I'm with and I'm like, Bob is so cool.
He
I
really
don't know
is.
that you can really say that much more about him when you
You really can't. I
get
mean,
deep into it.
Bob is so cool.
He is. Every time I'm like, man, he's so cool.
I know. I know. I just will say like one thing. Like we forget that like he did kind of invent cool. Like he invented dark sunglasses inside. You
Yeah.
know, he invented kind of being a dick at press conferences. He invented like he
I think
invented
one of the
cool.
things he invented about being cool is that he always has just done whatever he wants.
Yes.
And those are the coolest people, are the
Yep.
people that are like, I'm just doing what I want. I'm not following anybody else's advice. I'm doing my own thing. That's truly cool.
Truly forever and truly like currently and for, like forever and ever. He always will be like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
You got to come back sometime and maybe we'll talk about I don't know, another street legal song.
I'll pick one that I've actually heard, and then
Okay. There
we
you
can
go.
talk about different versions.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Look for the next episode on the 15th day of the month in all of your podcast feeds. You can give me a follow on Blue Sky at Henry Bernstein. And if you're subscribing to Apple Podcasts, please take a moment to give us a rating and review. It's the best way to spread the word about the show. For a video version of this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Songs of Bob Dylan. You can, of course, email us at songsofbobdylan@gmail.com. Thank you to my friend and mentor, Rob Kelly, for designing our fabulous logo, and to my mandolin teacher, Mark Mitchell from the Old Town School of Folk Music in Chicago, for teaching me how to play the intro and the outro. If you'd like to help support the cost of hosting my podcasts, please go to patreon.com/gonzo3249. For $5, I'll show my gratitude by giving you a little shout out. So thank you to Rob Kelly, Roberta Rakove, Matt Simonson, and Christopher Vani. For $10, I'll also send you a piece of surprise Bob Dylan merch. So thank you to the girl from the North Country, Katie Sorovic. Speaking of merch, I have a store. Lots of fun stickers, shirts, hats, and other goodies for you to check out at etsy.com/Henry Podcast Store. Thank you to my Substack subscribers, Mark Godfrey, Linda Maltzby, George Pasella, and Peter White. You can check that out at henrybernstein.substack.com. Truly, I love you all. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.